I'm now joined by the former Republican Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. Mr. Speaker, thanks for sitting down with me.
Thanks for having me.
Really appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming here.
Yes, of course. It's great to be back in Wisconsin. So I got to ask you about this viral moment. Okay, this happened on the convention floor just earlier in the week. You were speaking to our colleague Caitlin Collins, and Matt Gaetz, who's, of course, led the push for your ouster in this speakership, taunted you. This is what he said.
One who's not coming back, and then the other part that you have, and the other part you have is one person who raised the issue. He's got an ethics.
You're not. If you took that stage, you would get booed off.
So that's the way
you would get booed off the stage.
That's the biggest challenge we have.
He said you would get booed off the stage. What's your response to him?
Well, he looks very unhinged. I mean, a lot of people have concerns about him. And I'm not sure if he was on something, but I do hope he gets the help that he needs. But more importantly, I hope the young women get the justice they deserve when it comes to him.
I mean, you're referring to the House Ethics Committee investigation that is ongoing.
Yeah, with his partner in jail because they paid underage women for sex and drugs. Yeah, that's what I'm referring
to. So he has denied all of that. I'm wondering, doesn't he deserve the presumption of innocence here?
Well, people are in jail. The women have confirmed it. He came to me. If I still wanted to be speaker, I could have done something illegal and stopped the ethics committee investigation that started 4 years before.
He told you to stop the ethics
investigation? Yeah, that's what the whole motion to vacate was about. He wanted me to engage and thought somehow I started this investigation. It started long before I was ever speaker. And as you know, as Congress, I don't get involved in ethics. It's an equal number. They could investigate me. It has to be its own arm and branch. And so he wanted to leverage me to try to do that. And if I didn't, he wanted to do a motion to vacate.
And he's denied that, of course, that he urged you to stop the investigation.
No, I had other members come to me. He came to me. I had other people who were on TV that he talked to. Yeah. So no, there's no denying it.
So he was on this stage just last night speaking. There's a photo of him here, some video of him from speaking on the stage. I'm wondering, he did speak. The fact that he spoke, and there he is. There's just speaking right now. The fact that he spoke, what do you make about that? You know, he also sat with Trump in the box. Are you concerned that he is getting the platform here, even though you have concerns about him being in the party?
Well, no, I have him as concerned his action with young women. It doesn't matter which party you're in, but if you take those types of actions, I just don't think that's safe. I don't think that's right. If you see his behavior, and you see him in Congress, do you think anybody else wants to be around him? Do you think people want to associate? So, I mean, no, everybody knows his challenges.
But should he have given the RNC given him the speaking spot?
Well, RNC doesn't pick that.
Well, the Trump campaign.
Yeah,
so they've given him the speaking spot?
That's up to their decision.
Yeah, okay. And just before we button up the Gaetz conversation, he has a primary later this summer. How hard are you going to work to try to defeat him?
No, look, I just believe those young women deserve the justice that they've deserved all the way through.
I want to turn to Joe Biden because you were there's obviously a lot of discussion about Joe Biden and what's going to happen to him here at the top of the ticket. You were quoted in a Wall Street Journal story in June saying, I used to meet with him when he was vice president. I'd go to his house. He's not the same person. You're referring to the deterioration of Joe Biden in your view. What specifically did you notice about him that suggested that there was some slippage?
Well, a couple things. So when he became president and I was minority leader, he kind of shut us out from even communication. And I thought that was odd. But then when we won the majority and I went down before our speaker, I soon learned the reason why. He has to speak from cards. And when he speaks from the cards and you want to debate what he said from the card to negotiate, he can't go there. He shuts up the conversation. So I saw a real decline early on. And with each meeting I would have with him, it's almost I saw a different Joe Biden. I remember one time being down there where I didn't think he quite knew what was transpiring, and he took us on a wild tour down to the swimming pool that made no sense in wintertime. And I remember Jill being on the other side of the table saying, no, they don't want to go outside. And then he took us he's created this little office just outside, just down from the Oval Office. Mm-hmm. That's his little private office, and walked us into it. And, you know, there's only a few people that can fit in it. Trump had it as a gift shop type thing. And In there, he has a valet with a blue dress shirt all wrinkled sitting in there. I'm thinking, why is taking his shirt off in there? It just, every time I walked out actually depressed as an American. I didn't tell anybody about that story, but because he was going off to a G7 meeting.
Should you have been public about that at the time?
You know, this was before I was even speaker, so I'm thinking I didn't have new interactions. I have started being public, as you saw, probably the first one out, and I was criticized many times about it. But what I learned is when he would meet with me, he'd always talk from a card, and I learned from a negotiation tactic to disrupt him, and he couldn't carry on.
You know, I've been struck here about how united the Republican Party is behind Trump. Despite all of his controversies, he's been convicted on 34 felonies. He tried to overturn the elections. He's been found liable for sexual abuse. Is the party just ignoring all those controversies here? Question one. And two, if you're in a tough race, in a swing district, do you tie yourself tightly to the top of the ticket on the Republican side?
I mean, I think if you look on the outside and don't take a Republican or Democrat, let's take like a PBS, only polling independents, when they ask the question, who's the greatest threat to democracy? You know what that comes back at? More than 53%? Joe Biden. And I think the country views it, all those things you said about Trump that you went after, you're doing it because you're trying to deny him the right to run. Every time the Democrats would indict him, his poll numbers would go up. He'd have his biggest fundraising when you go and take it to the most...
The federal grand jury.
Yeah.
And also,
I mean, you could spin however you want. I'm just telling you what the American public is saying and what they're thinking. And so what you see is where the Democrats keep going crazy. I've been to 5 of these. I've never seen us more united, and I've never seen the Democrats more divided. I mean, both parties would always look at the other. They all stick together, and the other doesn't. You can't even decide who your nominee is this far out. But the Democrats actually changed. They changed their primary system so Joe Biden could win and others couldn't run against him.
And if you're in a tough race,
I
think you should tie yourself to Trump.
Look,
you do.
Oh, well, do you think the Democrats would be all the Democrats who are in tight races are saying we don't want Joe Biden on the ticket?
Well, the Democrats have their own issues. I'm talking about the Republicans.
I've seen the polling and Democrat polling on districts that Biden won by 13 that Trump is now leading by 13 is. I think I see Democrats in Maine in a tight race tying themselves to Donald Trump. Not the question would they tie themselves to Biden. They're trying to cling on to Trump just so they could hold on to their seat.
Is there any chance you would take a position in the Trump administration?
Look, I don't think that's where I'm going.
Okay.
Look, my degree, I have a master's in business. I think I could do a lot in business.
Okay, all right. We will see what happens. Mr. Speaker, thanks for joining me here. It was a great discussion. Really
Always enjoy it.
All right. Thank you so much. All right.